Okay, welcome to High Performance Racing. Thank you very much, as always, for the comments, for the support, for the shares, for the likes. We love the fact that you're loving this show. And today, guys, is a very special episode.
Sounds good.
Because it's all about the greats. Put your hands up if you've worked closely with Michael Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel.
I only got two hands.
Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I can kind of put my hand up for that because obviously I interviewed him a lot for that. And then Max Verstappen, none of us. But we can talk about him.
I like Max.
So I want
Max.
I want to start with Will's phone making a noise.
Yeah, well done, Will.
Quick coffee interruption.
Oh, great. And a coffee. Thanks so much, Mills.
How come there's your man's got the voice from the gods?
This is my second time on High Performance.
Welcome back to High Performance Racing. This is
Welcome
Millie.
back,
Without Millie,
Millie.
the show doesn't happen.
Millie,
Thanks, Mills.
Millie, have you tried to have me over there because you haven't put the lid on?
I've just been trying to.
You've deliberately,
I would take the lip. I would take it off.
New white top.
you've deliberately tried to sabotage my new Fat International, Fat Racing Department, Formula 4 athlete driver, white T-shirt. Thanks, Millie. That was
The race team that everyone's talking about.
the race team that everyone is talking about.
So the greats. I would love to know from each of you the first time that you got that kind of weird tingling sensation that you were seeing something incredible. And it might be that you were like 11 years old and watching F1 on the sofa at home, or it might be that you were alongside greatness in the pit lane.
Fernando in 3000, when he came to 3000, and he was instantly quick. So
What
it would have
team?
been, 98?
What team?
It was the Benetton junior team. So Flavio had set up, Briatore had set up, he had some clause into a Formula 3000 team called Astromega. So I went out there to kind of help with it, and I got there quite late in the season because they were using it to find young drivers. And so we went to, so there was a guy, and I shouldn't give you his name, who was like the Formula 3000 hot shoe at the time. And he was like our number one driver. And then we went to Barcelona, and because I was the younger lad, I was going to be given the young driver. And I tested 3 drivers. So I ran the car and I tested 3 different drivers over the space of 2 days. And one had a full day. I can't remember who the other 2 were. And on the
Fabrice
third,
Valfish?
he was the number one driver.
Was he? Remember the name.
And
Whatever happened to Fabrice Valfish?
I don't know, Fabrice, write in and tell us. And on the second day afternoon, this young kid turned up, and he looked literally like a kid then.
Yeah, because do you remember you will remember, he was the youngest driver on the grid, wasn't he, when he came into F3000?
Yeah, by a margin.
Yeah.
He'd done go-karts.
Yeah.
Then he'd done this little Spanish, not even equivalent of Formula 4 series. And then he came straight to 3000. And 3000 back then were like proper cars.
proper.
Yeah. They were
Yeah, it
like
was proper.
600 horsepower. And yeah, he got in the car and I thought, well, we're just trying to find the best of a bad bunch. And yeah, he was just unbelievable from the outset. So he'd never sat in anything with anywhere near that power. And on the first run, he went out and we said, right, you got to like kind of take it easy. Don't go like mental. On the first run, he was already down to the new tyre lap time of our number one driver who'd been there for a day and a half. First run. And I remember the team manager, a fellow called Sam Boyle, was on the pit wall, like doing that to him as he was coming back because he thought he was going to crash. Obviously, I think he might have known Barcelona a little bit. And then he was like, and he couldn't speak a word of English. And we said and he had this translator, a guy, an ex-Ferrari guy called Ermanno Cuoghi, who used to be Niki Lauda's mechanic, and he hung around with Fernando because he could translate. And he come back in and he said something on the radio that I couldn't understand. He couldn't speak a word of English. And Emano said, "Oh, he's ready for new tyres." And I was like, "What do you mean he's ready for new tyres?" He's like 12 years old and never been in a proper car before. We put new tyres on and he immediately found like a second and a half.
Jeez.
And I remember I had to call back to the factory and report back. And I thought to myself, fuck, this kid's quick. I reckon he's like gonna like, this kid's like proper Formula One material and possibly a world champion. This is after half an afternoon.
And you were right.
And I thought, if I tell like the people back at the factory, they're going to take him off me because I was going to be the number 2 driver's race engineer for the year. I said, if I tell the people back in the factory, they'll take him off me and I'll get the other driver. So I called them on the night and they said, what do you think? So I went through and I said, oh yeah, fella on day one, he was all right. So I said, I think the best of the bad bunch is probably the kid that we got, like Fernando Alonso or something like that he's called. He was in the car this afternoon. And he said, and I remember the chief engineer saying, well, what do you think about him? Then I said, well, he's a bit of a wanker. I said, but I can look after him for the year. Biggest ever. By the end of the year, I think the record in terms of like gap to second place with race wins. And he was still only, 16, 17, when 16, 17, like...
Yeah, it was young.
Was very young.
Yeah.
It's all kind of come back a bit now.
So just so we're absolutely clear, like you derailed his early career
Yeah.
to look after yourself.
Fucked him over, yeah, of course.
Yeah. What about you?
Selfish.
Well, there you go.
Selfish.
Made a career of it.
1984 was my first F1 race as a spectator.
Yeah.
And I thought every one of those guys was special. I think PK was in that race. John Watson was there. It was in Detroit. And I went to one race every year when they came to Detroit. But I was really, really impressed. And then working, my first 2 drivers at British American Racing were Villeneuve and Zonta. And although, we don't talk about Villeneuve as a generational talent like the rest of you met.
You call him Villeneuve, do you?
Villeneuve. Jacques.
Neuve.
He was good when he came over. I think he was as quick, if not quicker, than Coulthard in their first test.
Yeah.
And David was no slouch, race winner. That was at Williams.
But the greatest you've worked with?
I worked with Seb.
Yeah.
And I worked with Fernando. And both great. But Seb's work ethic was like no other. I'll give you an example. So here we are. We hired him from Ferrari, came into Aston, and we hired him just so the rest of the team could see, because we all knew how hard he worked, what a work ethic he had and what he did and how he went about his job and, no stone unturned and analyzing a corner instead of 3 phases and 30 phases. And but the thing that really, really impressed me was this was at a time where we had no chance of winning. I mean, we almost won, right? The race in Hungary where we should have won it. But anyway, we weren't regular contenders for race wins. And we had a tire engineer who's still there now, Jun Matsuzaki, would go out and measure the circuit in different places to measure the surface roughness with a little machine that we have. I think everyone does it now. And Seb used to insist on measuring in 5, 6, 7 different locations on the pitch straight, the surface roughness. And Jun's like, why do you want me to measure so often the surface roughness? And he said, I want to know where the highest grip level is just in case I'm leading the race at a restart. I want to know where the highest grip level is and where the lowest grip level is and where that delta is. So I'm going to hit the accelerator at the restart at the highest grip level and make sure that the guys behind me are where it isn't so high. So it was that level of detail that he would go in, even when you're at a team where the probability of leading the race at a restart wasn't as high as it was when he was at Ferrari or when he was at Red Bull. But it didn't matter. That's just how he was.
Yeah. Consistency, preparation.
And yeah, preparation, every little detail, I need to get it right.
Yep.
And that is what made him a 4-time world champion.
And how did you manage to get him to sign for a team where race wins were going to be unlikely?
Oh, we just told him we were going to be super good.
Simple.
Yeah. You know, we're shit now, but you come to us, it'll change.
And what other teams after him at the time?
I don't think so. I think it was just us. I think he was fed up with Ferrari at that point. And, you know, we wanted him to come. And, yeah, we had some podiums with him. And, yeah, nearly a race win. We had some success with him there. I really enjoyed working with him. Learned a lot. And, you know, the driver next to him also observed what he did and how he went about his business. And he was a true professional, Seb.
I really liked him because I was hosting the BBC coverage when he was 10, 11 and 12, when he obviously won 3 world titles. And do you remember there was like a bit of negativity towards him, that he was like a bit ruthless, not very nice, but how funny was Seb Vettel? Like,
Yeah,
hilarious.
Good sense of humor.
Hilarious sense of humour.
Yeah, very English.
Very English, nice guy, funny guy.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, this natural talent? I remember driving around Maranello with Fernando Alonso in a Ferrari road car. And obviously, like, you get thrown around a lot. So I was holding onto the seat, not because I was scared, but because it was
Fiorano,
like,
not
yeah.
the town, obviously.
No, on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Maranello, right? Fiorano is the track.
Fiorano is the track at Maranello.
Yeah.
In Maranello.
So we're driving round, and I'm holding on the seat, and it's not because I don't trust him or because I'm scared, but because it was an open top car, so there was nowhere else to hold it. And he goes to me, "Oh, you don't trust me?" I said, "Yeah, I do trust you. I'm just holding on the seat." And he goes, "I'll show you why you can trust me." And he closed his eyes and did like the next 3 corners like this with his eyes shut, and then opened his eyes again and went, "Now you still scared?" I was like, I was never scared. I wasn't scared. And then
but now I am.
Yeah, now I am.
Eyes.
And you know, in old Mr. Ferrari's like old cottage, which is in the middle of the track,
Yeah, the old
the
farmhouse.
white building, the old farm.
Yeah.
You must have been there, Otmar, even though you've kind of always been a rival team boss to.
Yeah, no, we went there when 2014, when the new engine regulations came. VJ and Bob Fernley at the time really wanted us to sign with Ferrari, and Andy Green and I wanted to sign with Mercedes. So we did go there, and I was driven around by Luca Bador, I want to say,
Yeah.
in a 458 Speciale around that track, and it was a fun car. You could really slide it. I mean, he could really slide it. I wanted to drive, but they said no. But should have let me drive it.
I thought you were going to say
yeah.
you went there when you picked up your LaFerrari.
No, I wish I had one of those.
I was about to
Thank
say,
you.
hold on a minute.
It's a 488 Pista. But,
I remember being in that building when and they've got like one of the floors. It's just loads of photos on the wall, isn't it, of like legendary Ferrari moments
in Enzo's house?
in the old farmhouse,
Yeah.
maybe on the first floor.
Yes, it is.
And Fernando was having a rub down after our day because I always love a massage, don't they, these guys? And he was wearing just a towel, and he came through and like he started saying, "Look at these photos, aren't they amazing?" I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life than Fernando Alonso wrapped in a towel. I mean, I am not a gay man, but that body, oh my God. Did you ever see his body?
Well, yeah, but I mean...
Did you not think it was incredible? It was like the perfect human specimen.
I think this podcast's taken a turn for the...
It was like
Turns
tanned,
worse.
amazing.
Okay, can we move on?
makes you uncomfortable. This goes along with Rob's socks.
They are great socks. I want to talk about Michael Schumacher, if I may. What is the Michael Schumacher that we think we know but we don't really know? The thing that made him so incredibly special.
I mean, I've talked about this before.
Or maybe think of a different story then.
I think, like, faster than his brother, yeah. Fastest person in his family. Work ethic. Humility.
You once described him as a senior manager who happened to be able to drive a racing car extremely well.
But I think that's
What
kind
do you
of
mean by that?
what I mean by that was he was a leader. What is a senior manager in effect in any business? They're a leader, right? Michael was a leader, and he took that responsibility really seriously. He would he knew like how powerful his words were. You know, somebody like Michael, who anybody can, you know, everybody at that point was hanging on his every word. He understood that responsibility and he used it like to great effect. You know, he used it to motivate people. You know, he used it to motivate 1,000 women and men to deliver for Ferrari. I think that he, you know, when we talk about humility, to the outside world, it was all about Michael Schumacher. In the team, Michael Schumacher made it all about Ferrari, right? Of course, he wanted to win, but he made it all about Ferrari. It was all about the team. It was all about the team ethic, you know, and we win and we lose as a team. And when we win, we celebrate together and get very drunk on occasion. And when we lose, we kind of help each other out and we pick each other up. And when, you know, Formula One is a great sport for somebody, for a series of events that started 3 weeks ago, culminating in a disaster at the racetrack, some poor soul holding the hot potato and looking like they have fucked up, essentially, right? Formula One's great for that, right? There's always these series of events. You've always got to go back to the source problem. I talk about this all the time, even in my business now. Like, okay, let's go back to the source problem rather than just like trying to see what happened here and blame the individual. And he was a great one at always thinking like that. And never like, you know, I think Formula One's also a great sport a great sport for kind of, you know, you can have had years and years of success and then you have like a little rocky patch and all of a sudden everybody's on you, right? All the media are on you, all the fans are on you, all the rest of it. He was very consistent in his approach with people that, hey, sometimes, you know, like all of us at work, you have a rocky patch, you make mistakes. He was always just good at corralling people and just good fun as well. He was just good fun to be around, right? You know, we worked very, very hard and we were we took our jobs very, very seriously. And we had great resource at Ferrari back in the time, back in the day, which helped us to win a lot. But it was just, you know, there was a core group of people there that all gelled really well. And I think that if Michael had been more fractious and been, you know, when things went wrong and it was, you know, a little bit more of a toxic environment, it wouldn't have worked anywhere near as well as it did.
It's when things go wrong that's important.
Yeah.
How you act, what you do. It's easy to smile when you're winning.
Yeah, of course
you
it
won
is.
a lot. But when it goes wrong, that's when it really shows the character. And I understand, although I didn't work with him, he was pretty sympathetic to the mechanics of the car, understood it, was a good mechanic himself.
He used to be a go-kart mechanic, right? Because when they were karting, when he was a kid, you know, they couldn't afford the whole team setup, so it was just like him and his dad doing it. So he used to put his kart together, and he knew how to do that. And he knew, and he was very sympathetic.
So therefore, you're sympathetic to the gearbox, to the...
Yeah. And that's why he had so few mechanical failures. If you look at his record throughout his career, his Formula One career, compared to his teammate, he always seemed to come off better. And then everybody would say, oh, well, he's lucky. Yeah. He always has all the luck. You know, the other car always stops. It wasn't luck. It was just he had a great deal of mechanical sympathy. He had a very, very
drive
finite
the car in a more sympathetic way.
Yeah, not like a rock ape.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have to drive it like a rock ape to get the time out of it. He would get himself into a position in the race where he could just take out like a few milliseconds per corner.
Hey, Otmar, what would you say are the three most important traits of a high-performing team in F1?
Hard work, competence.
Yeah.
But most importantly, everyone has the same objective and pulls in the same direction to meet that objective.
I love that. You know, when we had you wearing a sombrero on set, everyone was saying, I understand now why Otmar wore a sombrero to sign Sergio or wore a beret to sign Esteban Ocon, to create this culture. Well, We've been gifted another hat for you to wear.
Uh-oh.
How about this?
Oh, let me see.
An AG1 cap saying,
Morning person.
are you?
I'm not, but now that I've been drinking the AG1, I've become a morning person.
Well, you're looking in great shape. That's exactly what AG1 is designed for, right? Whether you're on the move, it's a daily course supplement to support your energy levels, your immune system, and your digestion. And the nice thing is you don't have to think about multiple different supplements. Just one scoop or one travel pack gives you a broad mix of vitamins, minerals, and gut-supporting bacteria all in one go. I mean, and the morning person hat looks amazing.
And the morning person looks amazing.
So this August, there's an exclusive offer for High Performance Racing listeners. If you would like that cap, head to drinkag1.com/high performance racing to get the full AG1 welcome kit, plus AG1's omega-3 designed to support heart health, brain function, and more. And there's no risk. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, you can pause or cancel your subscription at any time. So you can never look foolish with AG1.
I'm going to wear it to the pub to remind me to go home. So I'm now a morning person.
And what about when you first came into Ferrari what would you have started out as, like a tyre engineer or a...
No. I was a test engineer. So I
So what was he
went
like
there.
with you as someone who almost at the bottom of the rung of the engineering ladder at that point?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I don't want to sound like a dick, but I wasn't quite at the bottom of the rung. I was the lead engineer on the car, but it was the
What, when you
test
first
car.
came in?
Yeah,
On the test car though?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but on the test car. That was something that I wanted to. That was the reason I went to Ferrari, because I
Right.
wanted to work on
Got
the
you.
test team. So when I first came into it, I would run his cars outside of the races. So don't forget, then we did more testing than we did racing.
Yeah.
We were constantly out racing, and we would be out testing 4 days a week. So when he came, he would come away from the races and then come and test for 4 days, and whatever the test program was, and I would run his car. And I did that for, in fact, honestly, although my career kind of went in a different direction, I was so happy. That was probably my happiest time in Formula One from a technical point of view. I would have been the oldest test engineer on the planet right now. But if the Ferrari team if you still had test teams of 250 people, and we could just put that, freeze that time, I'd still be doing it now. It was just brilliant. I learned so much, and I wanted to step back from the racing to go into testing. So when I went there, I immediately became his race engineer in the tests, if you like. And we just got on really, really well straight away, because I'm always somebody who is, Michael is one of those guys which is a mark of a champion. It's about consistency, right? Every day, show up, be consistent, right? Be consistent in your approach. When things are good, when things are bad, do the same thing, be consistent, right? And my personality is a bit like that at work, right? Show up, be consistent, preparation, right? Know your stuff. If you don't know something, don't blag it. Go deeper and deeper into your subject. Try and understand it. And I don't know, it's just my natural curiosity. And I think he appreciated that. And we just got on well, right? It was just always trying to find, we would have our, let's call it, the standard test program where we're testing components, or we're testing new gearbox, or we might be looking at ratios, or we'd be doing tire testing. But then there was stuff where we just went off and explored and just looked at setups and looked at different ways of extracting performance from the car. And I just loved doing that with him. He was great. He was a great colleague.
And did you have to earn his trust?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember a moment where you managed to do that?
I think it goes back to being prepared and knowing what you're talking about, not blagging it, because he would... One thing with Michael, where, the first couple of tests that we ever did, he was pretty, I would say, standoffish with me. And he was drilling down into such a deep level of questions. If he'd ask me a question and I'd answer it, and then he'd go a level deeper, and then he'd go a level deeper, and then he'd go a level deeper. And all he was doing was testing me, testing if I knew what, if I could answer. And when I didn't know the answer, I would say, I don't know that, but I'll go and work it out. And then he told me once, years later, He said, I was talking to him about this, and I said, actually, you're a bit of a fucking pain in the arse when, like, in this first, like, month or two when we were working together. I said, and I used to like think, wow, how does this guy as a driver know all of this stuff? He said, I didn't know half the answers. He said, I was just kept asking the questions.
It's the right question to ask.
Yeah. And have you got any memorabilia of his? Have you got anything?
I got a helmet, and he gave me a replica World Championship trophy.
Did he?
Yeah. I can't remember
Sure,
which
it's
World
not the real one.
Might be the real one. He might have thought.
Did he do that for a lot of people, or was that a significant? You did something that helped him win it, or?
So he always was very generous at the end of the season. Always incredibly generous. And I think, I honestly think he probably used to give the whole of, if not the factory, the race team. And the race team back then, we didn't have what was called, like, we didn't have an operational limit to the amount of people that you would take. So Ferrari's race team and test team was huge, yeah. Yeah, altogether, you're probably talking about 600 people. And he always had quite a significant gift for everyone. And then, like, for his, the people who he was a little bit closer to, we would get watches or, like, just nice gifts. But it wasn't about the gift.
It wasn't about showing off or.
No. It was very quiet. It was quietly
Yeah.
done, and it was just like done in a really nice and classy way. But I think more than that, what are my memories of Michael outside of the car? We used to go and just have a good time together at times. You know what I mean? He enjoyed a drink. If we worked hard and, winning world championships and winning races and stuff like that and end of season parties.
I do remember Michael at the log cabin in Suzuka.
Yeah.
Because Suzuka used to be the last race, and everybody was at the log cabin after the last race. And yeah, Michael enjoyed a drink then.
Bit of karaoke, bit of drinking.
Definitely karaoke.
So his thing was, in jeans, everyone would be wearing jeans. And his thing was, and he was quite a pain in the ass with this, was to come up behind you and grab your jean pocket and then rip it off. But sometimes what would happen, because the stitching is unbelievably, like, strong in your jean pockets. So sometimes if he got it, and this is what he was obviously trying to do, if he got it right, you would basically rip the whole of the back of your jeans off. So you just stood there with the waistband and the front of your jeans. You were like, now what the fuck am I going to do?
You just have to have a
it's only
night
9
out
o'clock.
with your arse showing.
It's only 9 o'clock. We've got another 6 hours.
They used to have these like lit up reindeer all over near in the courtyard near the log cabin. And I spotted Michael. This was 2-3 in the morning after the last race. He won the world championship. He's kind of like dismantling this reindeer. And I was vice president of Honda at the time. So I took it upon myself to think that this kind of belonged to me a little bit, although it didn't, but it belonged to me more than it belonged to him. I said, Michael. He looked at me. I said, what are you doing? I said, that's not yours. He said, oh, I'm sorry. He started putting it back together and he fucked off.
What was he doing? Dismantling a reindeer at
I don't
3
know.
o'clock in the morning.
And
will
we
never know.
also played football in that little with Michael at 2 a.m. after a few drinks at the
He loved
log cabin.
football.
Yeah.
He was always
Under the lights, in the courtyard, by the log cabin, little football game.
yeah.
He liked playing.
He loved playing. We always used to we used to have like a little Ferrari team, and he would, when we, like, say 5, 6, 7 races a year, he'd always organise the match. It was always him who organised it. Ross used to be the referee.
Brilliant.
Of course he was.
Yeah. And then there used to be like 20 odd of us, and he'd always find like a local stadium or whatever on the Wednesday night, and we go and play football, and then all go and, like, have something to eat and a drink and have a good time.
I love it. So when you're managing various drivers at various stages of their career, And you've got some like the rookies, guys that have never won a Grand Prix before, guys who are lacking in confidence. You've got to kind of build them up. But then also in your team, you manage a Fernando Alonso or a Sebastian Vettel. I'm really interested in how, as a leader, you manage people that are already multiple world champions.
Yeah, you got to treat them all differently and understand their personalities, what makes them tick, so to speak. And Formula One drivers, I mean, they all tick on their own. But you got to just understand the idiosyncrasies between one personality and another and how you treat them. And, you treat Vettel differently than a Fernando and a Hülkenberg differently than an Ocon or a Perez or a Villeneuve.
And who did you enjoy managing? Like who?
Vettel was probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Hülkenberg also, very good, very easy. But they probably come from the same ilk. They used to race against each other. I remember Hülkenberg saying to me, I think he started karting when he was 7. And he said, I wish my dad would have started me when I was 5. I think I started a year or two too late. Yeah, at 7 years old.
When you're as fast as someone like Nico and as talented,
He's still
as he
fast
is,
now.
Yeah.
but what is it that makes him a one-time podium finisher, a 0-time world
A
champion?
bit of bad luck. I mean, he was leading the race in Brazil in whatever that was, 2011.
But then you've got Vettel, multiple
should've won
world
it.
champion, Fernando, multiple. Like, what have you seen anything when you see them
the
together?
significant difference is the team you end up with.
Mm.
That's a significant
Yeah.
difference. And how do you get yourself into that team? Because I think Fernando is probably better than 2-time world champion. But it's just the team that you end up with.
Yeah.
And, Lewis made a great move leaving McLaren when he did and going to Mercedes. Yeah, he's great, don't get me wrong, but also chose the right team.
Yeah.
And I think Hülkenberg, very good, won everything coming up and just wasn't really with the team where he could be multiple world champion.
Is there something, though, about the fact that those guys... I remember talking to David Coulthard about this, because I remember when we did our first ever broadcast in Australia, 2009, and I was quite young. I was like 28, my first season in Formula One. And I remember after qualifying, we did like an hour's build-up, then qualifying, then an hour after the race. And I was like literally exhausted, like fully mentally and physically. I'd reached my limit, because there's a lot going on. The 9 voices that you hear in your ear, you're trying to get the show off air on time, you're trying to work out where the pundits are, ask the right questions. You've never been in a live pit lane before. It's like sensory overload for hours. And I remember being so exhausted at the end of qualifying, and I met Ted Kravitz, the pit lane reporter, and I went, "Oh, mate." And he went, "You knackered?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, it's the actual race day tomorrow." And I suddenly thought, shit, like... I haven't actually done the main thing that needs to. So then I had to go back to the hotel, write all of the scripts for the following day, the ins and outs of all of the VTs, all the prep, all the questions. Like, it was absolutely... I remember coming off air after the end of the Australian Grand Prix. 1-2 finish for Brawn, if you remember. And they got clapped down the pit lane. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And saying to DC, I said, "What do you think then?" Like, it's quite a buzz, isn't it, doing TV? I was all on some ridiculous high because I'd now managed to make it through the entire weekend and not been fired. And the BBC had told me that if I had a bad first couple of minutes, like, that would be it for me, because it was a...
Did they?
Yeah, well, when I first got the job, it was announced on a Thursday morning at 10 a.m. And at 10:30, Harriet rang me. I said, "Hey, how are you?" And she was in floods of tears. She went, "I've just been on the internet and everyone thinks you're going to be shit." And I was on kids' TV, right? And I got a job in Formula One. And like, Formula One fans are protective of their sport. And they thought, who the fuck is this guy from kids?
From
What are they
Kids TV.
doing to Formula One? Why are they giving it to a kids presenter? So I basically got the message from BBC Sport. I signed a 1-year contract. And they said if it's a bad start, there won't be a second year. There might not even be a second race. So you need to step up, so I was like all elated. I remember saying to David, I was like, "Mate, what a buzz." And in typical DEC style, he looked at me and he went, "Son,
You're not driving the car.
I've gone wheel to wheel with Michael Schumacher through Eau Rouge. This is not a buzz."
Yeah.
And then I sort of spoke to him about like finding that edge or being elite and whatever. And he was really like honest about it. And he said, look, I didn't have the spare capacity that other drivers had. He said, so he says he wasn't a great qualifier anyway, but he says like over a lap or in a race, like he won Monaco twice, right? He could deliver. But when it was raining and he was up against it and the tyres were starting to degrade and he's trying to work out strategy and it's all fucking kicking off, he could see that Michael would come alive and be, I know exactly what to do.
Michael had a lot of spare capacity. Who was
100%.
it where he was about to win the race and I think he overtook somebody that was lapping him, where he heard that the engine note was off
On someone else's car.
on someone else's car. And he got on the radio and said,
About to be a safety car or something.
no, how far back is P2? Because he was about to win. And they told him, and he said, I'm going to let whoever it was pass me. So he's got to do another lap because this was last lap for Michael.
Yeah.
So he let him go by again. Michael then wins the race. Whoever that was, I think in third, had to do another lap. Didn't finish. And I think Verstappen got the podium because of it.
Hang on, this is Michael and...
Michael and Verstappen, I think, at Benetton.
Oh, okay.
I think it was
Jos.
Verstappen, Jos.
Sorry.
I think it was Jos at Benetton.
Okay.
And Jos was fourth.
Yeah.
Whoever it was that broke down was third. Michael was about to cross the line.
Oh, right.
meaning
He made him do another lap.
He made him do another lap.
Ah, nice.
But my point is, he had the capacity
Yeah.
as he's overtaking him to listen to his engine note and think, you know what? He might not make it another lap. So he let him overtake. So now Michael wins the race. He's got to do the other.
Yeah.
And he broke down.
He was
and Jos
so
then
smart.
finishes on the podium where otherwise he wouldn't have. And
Yeah.
he did it for his teammate.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of stuff. Hulkenberg had it. You get on the radio with Hulkenberg, it was like he was reading the newspaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like so calm. You know, you ask him anything. He'd answer like he was reading the Sunday Times.
Yeah.
Going 190 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael had a huge... Fernando's the same. Like, those are the guys there.
Fernando has it too.
Huge
Yeah,
amount
huge
of spare capacity. So they can drive the car at 10/10ths, but they've still got this brain power. And back in
And
the
Vettel
day...
too. Vettel used to watch the big screens to see
Yeah, that's
where
what
everyone
Michael
else
used
is.
to do. That's what Michael used to do. So back in the day, that was even more important, because if you look at the tools that we've got now in Formula One, like race strategy tools, right, which are highly advanced with simulations running in the background.
Much more than before.
Right, much more. And they will invariably give you the right answer. When a safety car comes out, it'll tell you whether you need to pit or not. So we're much more reliant on tools now. Back then, in the early 2000s in Ferrari, we didn't have that like level of sophistication. Like all the team stuff was done on Excel, right? Or maybe we were writing it in Visual Basic or like Fortran or something like that.
YouTube.
And we were writing it in YouTube, and it was all a bit clunky and didn't always work and wasn't always very reactive and wasn't real time. So we would quite often come up with, we think it's going to be like a 3-stop, or we think it's going to be a 2-stop. Michael would
work it out
honestly,
in the race.
So many times he would come on the radio, and this is a shame that back then that you didn't have the radio, because you couldn't listen to all of that as a fan. And he would come on and he would say, "Are you guys sure? Because I've just seen this guy pit on the big TV. You know, I've just seen this guy pit, and he put that tire on,
Watching the telly while driving.
While driving around.
While driving around, and it seemed like a short pit stop. So I guess he's going to do like, it looks like he's probably going to do like one more stop. I think we should stay out." And he was always right. He called it spot on. So he just had that intuition of massive capacity.
Like that mental spare capacity. When you're watching an Alonso and a Vettel and a Schumacher, and maybe even as a kind of rival engineer or team boss, a Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel,
Lewis has it.
are they driving at a limit beyond the other drivers or not?
No, I think it's different. I think I think they all drive so they don't drive unless they need to in a race. They don't drive at qualifying pace, but they'll certainly drive at, call it 98%.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all driving like at the limit of, somewhere near the limit of the car in a race trim. The difference is, with some drivers, with very good drivers, it takes all of their capacity to drive that car at that limit and not make mistakes. For it's 1 hour 40 minutes that you're driving a car, right? It's a sprint race and you're going fast. With the greats, they can do that, but they still have a load of spare capacity, a load of spare brain capacity to still think about things.
So it's not that
Max
they're
has it.
more talented drivers. It's that they can do the driving, but there's a whole other offering that you get from them.
Yeah.
Mental capacity. And then you also tell them before a pit stop, I need 5 qualifying laps now. And
Yeah.
they'll do it. And they'll absolutely do it. Where some of the other ones, if you don't have that spare capacity and you tell them I need 5 qualifying laps, they'll come back and say, what do you think I've been doing?
Yeah. And is there also an argument that the greats can drive absolutely to the limit, but no more, because there's no need to push the car to the limit or themselves to the limit? But if the race is easy and they're chilled, they can do that. But then if they need to be aggressive and they need to fight and they need to get their elbows out and they need that incredible racecraft, like, I suppose they could, like, are the greats the ones that can be a load of different people behind the wheel?
Yeah. Again, it goes back to mental capacity. If you don't need to do it and you're going to win the race, you shouldn't be on the ragged edge and risking it. But if you do need to do it, you should be able to get to the ragged edge without crashing.
Yeah.
Or set somebody up for a pass where you pass them without crashing, because if you do, you're both worse off. And I think Lewis was very, very good at that. Lewis would allow drivers to overtake him knowing that he had the skills to get him back later. I don't need to do it right now, because if I do it now, I'll risk both of us going off. I'll bide my time, and then I'll get you. I'll get in the right spot. And you just follow him, and then set him up. And Lewis was very good at that. I think Michael was good at that.
Michael was good at that. I think Michael was always one that, you know, he would keep up, like we talked about the 5 qualifying laps. He would just go for it during the race. And I think it was a psychological thing with him. He wanted to finish like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds in front of the next guy. He wasn't, you know, he could have looked at, well, he did look after the car. He maybe could have just driven it slower and finished 10 seconds ahead at the end of the race. But what he wanted to do, he wanted to dominate and almost, like, you know, destroy people mentally. Like
he would do that in qualifying too.
And he would do it in qualifying. Whereas actually, I never worked with him. You did, Otmar, but with Sebastian Vettel, I always noticed even in those early years, like in Red Bull when he won in 2010, 11, 12, he was always happy just to sit like 4 seconds, 5 seconds up the road, just get the lead and then just sit there. And then just know that he could control the race there. Didn't have to have a pit stop. Didn't have to like have this like incredible gap at the end of it. Just controlled it like that. So again, like a really intelligent driver, just a different type of approach.
The amount of times that, you know, Senna used to push to destroy everyone, and then the car would break down because you pushed too much. I think Seb was a bit more measured.
Yeah.
I wonder if there is
win's
also,
a win.
Is there something also in the fact that the greats can be ruthless when they need to be? So have you listened to when we had Nico Rosberg on High Performance?
No, I did see he was on.
Right. You should listen to that. He talks about sharing the team with Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
And he says things like, obviously everyone, you know, drivers get there. If there's a meeting at 10 o'clock, your driver walks in at 9:59 and 50 seconds, right? Because they just want to get there at the last moment for the meeting. He says that Michael would get there a couple of minutes before him and park across 2 spaces.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere else for Nico to park. The only next place to park is the media car park 5 minutes away.
So he's late.
So he arrives late and everyone's like, where the fuck are you? And he knows it's Michael. He says in the time that he shared that team, Mercedes, with Michael Schumacher, Michael never mentioned his name once. Not once
like
did he ever
that.
say the no.
Really?
Yep, not once. And then talking about, like, before the race in the Mercedes garage, there's one toilet. So Michael
Michael
goes and
being
locks it, goes and sits in the toilet, locks it, knowing Nico needs a piss, and just waits until the last possible moment. So Nico's saying that in Monaco one year, he's weeing in a bucket in the back of the garage before the race
Because Michael's in there.
because Michael's in
I
there.
love it.
You know, there's Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber, when Mark threw the cap at him and said, no, multi-21 Seb. Lewis Hamilton going up against Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes as well and getting his elbows out. I just wonder whether there's also, when it's required, like a nasty edge in the best possible way
Yeah,
from these great.
100%.
For sure, you're there to win. It's motor racing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's probably I think it's more so in motor racing than other sports, but other people in other sports have it. Maybe it's a Michael thing because Michael Jordan in basketball had it.
Yeah.
He had it. Tiger Woods had it.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods wanted to destroy you.
Yeah, it's about like how ruthless can you be? You know what I mean? But for guys like Michael, it was just about how do I win? That was it. It was he wouldn't have. I want to use COD psychology, but he wouldn't have thought about like I'm going to be like a nasty person to Nico Rosberg or to Rubens Barrichello or to anyone.
Just about winning.
Just about winning.
What
It's
does
just
it take to
calculating.
win?
About winning.
What
It's,
does it
it's,
take to
all,
win?
it's almost like running a business, right? You don't make emotional decisions in running a business, do you? You don't look at it and go, oh, that person's a really nice person, so I've got to hold on. You think like, are you performing? Are you not performing? Right? We don't need to fall out, but like hasn't quite worked out. That's how he thought about it. It was just a business. It's just business. He didn't think about the emotion of like his counterparty, but he would use every single trick to gain an advantage. Everything. One thing that he taught me a lot of things, but one of the things that he is kind of like my nature anyway, but he affirmed it for me is that everything's a competition. Everything is a competition. How fast can you get? Like who's first down? Like to the hotel lobby on a morning, right? Who's like out of the two engineering like cars? Who's the first one to the track? Who's the first one in the office? Who's the first one to do this? Who's the first one to do that? Who can do this better, right? Everything's a race.
And what does that do for a team? Like, I think back to when you signed someone like Seb or when you had Fernando in the team. Like, what does it do to a team to bring a world champion in? Like,
That's exactly why we signed Seb, so he could teach us how to become world champions.
and what did you learn from him? The biggest lesson?
The biggest lesson was his work ethic.
Yeah, consistency, work ethic.
Yeah. Just like you said, leave no stone unturned. Got to do everything. It's marginal gains. And work at those marginal gains.
And sometimes I think people that aren't in that world or F1 fans or whatever, we're guilty of overcomplicating what makes someone incredible. But really what you two have just said is like standards, hard work, discipline, consistency.
And a bit of talent.
Be a good person. Marry that with some natural talent.
Natural talent.
And I think spare capacity, which is not something that I think you can
I don't know
learn or
if you can
improve.
learn it.
I think that's
That's you.
that's either there or not there, isn't it?
Cognitive function, right?
Yeah, but I think some of
Having
that
recently got my
IQ
ARDS license, I can.
I don't know if that's
We saw-
inborn or learned, because I think if you start racing from a young age, you end up with more spare capacity when you're racing at high level.
Yeah. Well, maybe
So it could be learned.
I guess if you're the more you improve your skills, the less capacity they require. So the more you can put that spare capacity towards something
There's
else.
something else.
Really interesting.
And if you start early on, you create those pathways in your brain a little bit deeper and a little bit easier.
Final question, because we spoke previously on this show about greatest of all time, and we all agreed Ayrton Senna. I'd like to know the greatest you worked with, and the greatest you went up against.
Greatest I worked with, Vettel. Greatest I went up against. That's tough. Either Michael or Lewis.
Not Max.
Well, I don't think Max is at his peak yet.
Fair.
You don't think Max Verstappen's at his peak yet?
No, I think he's going to get better.
He is getting better, right? Do you not think he's getting better?
I think it's hard to judge, isn't it? Because when you're comparing different generations and different types of car, like I think back to...
I still think he's getting better.
Do you?
Yeah. How old is he?
I just think, I suppose, yes.
He's not in the best car now. So
Last
he's
season, to
learning
bridge that
stuff.
104 points, you would argue is the best he's ever driven and possibly that
Brilliant.
anyone's ever driven.
Absolutely brilliant.
I agree.
Yeah.
But even, Monaco, he was...
Monaco
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was Isaac in quali? Like how far behind? It was a big gap, right?
I can't remember, 4/10 or so.
Yeah. Around there.
Amazing.
Yeah, Max is definitely up there. Agreed.
Okay.
But I still think Max is getting better.
Best you were with and best you were against.
So best Michael. I'm best against, even though I work with him. Then
Yeah, you can you can have Michael for both answers.
no, I'm going to have Fernando, even though I worked with him. But when back in that 2004, 05, 06 time, when Fernando was a lot younger, he was just a fucking formidable competitor.
Yeah.
And I saw it firsthand, because don't forget, when I worked directly with him as a race engineer, he was a kid, and on this massive ascent of learning. When he got to Ferrari in 2010, he was 10 years in Formula One at that point, and he was pretty much the complete package. And you just saw what a formidable competitor he was. He just never has a day off. I mean, talk about consistency. Like Michael, just never has a day off. Just turns up every single day and nails it, and everything. Same characteristic. Everything is a competition. Wants to do everything better than his teammate, in and out of the car. So I think that he was very hard for us to beat in that, 05, 06 period when he was at Renault.
Interesting. Gentlemen, I enjoyed that very much. Delving into the mindsets and the behaviours of the greats in Formula One. Should we wrap up with some dad jokes?
Yeah, because this has been one of our more serious episodes, hasn't it?
Yeah, which I like that. I think it's good
Do you?
sometimes. Yeah, I think it's good sometimes to go deep into a certain topic and be really serious about it. Did you hear about the guy who used to circumcise elephants for a living?
No.
No, believe it or not.
I'm trying to think of the answer. The joke, I mean, not the answer.
The pay was bad, but he got big tips.
Fucking
Boy.
So this is not a joke. It's very serious and something that happened.
True story.
So Otmar's moved to a much posher area of Oxford now.
I don't know. It's all the same.
He's kind of like he's
It's all posh.
he's changed. He's changed. But it used to be just over the road from me. Now, do you remember when he told the story about the snails?
Yes, I do.
Well, it didn't actually finish there. Because what happened was, I had a pet turtle. I had a pet tortoise.
Which one was it?
Tortoise. I always fuck it up. I had a pet tortoise. And anyway, so if you remember Otmar's story, there was that he was taking the snails home for Rebecca to
Slowly,
cook.
yeah.
And then he went to the pub, and then they spilled out the bag, and he was like, "Come on, boys." Well, they didn't actually eat them. And they escaped and come over to my house.
No way.
And they attacked my tortoise. And I went out the next morning and, Terry the tortoise was a little bit beaten up. I said, "Terry, what happened?" He went, "I don't know. It all happened so quick."
That's horrendous. That's probably the shittest one we've said.
It's not. It's fucking good.
So one of my favorite hamburger joints in New York is PJ Clark's in Midtown. Have you been?
No, I've never been.
I've been.
You've been to PJ Clark's. So I went in last time I was in New York, and I noticed that on the bar there was like this miniature guy playing a small piano. I thought, oh, it's interesting. So the bartender came over, and they have a decent pint of Guinness in there. So he said, "Can I help you?" And before I could get out the fact that I wanted a Guinness, he's like, "Before you say anything, I'm going to grant you a wish." So he said, "Anything you want, you just think of it, and I'll grant it." So I thought, I'm in New York. So I started thinking. And then suddenly a duck appeared behind the bar, and then another duck, and then a duck in the other room, and then ducks everywhere. And the guy's like, "See?" And I realized, I thought, no, you got it wrong. I didn't wish for 1 million ducks. I wished for $1 million. I said to him, no, I wish for $1 million, not 1 million ducks. And there's ducks everywhere. And the guy next to me looks at me. He says, "He got mine wrong too. I didn't wish for a 10-inch pianist."
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, I had to follow up with that one because of your elephant joke.
Oh,
Anyway.
wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
As always, hope you enjoyed the show. Please.
Hi.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Are you saying goodbye already?
No,
Goodbye from us. Oh, sorry, was that
Hi.
a long time?
Hi. Yeah, I'm still doing that.
hi.
I'm still talking to
performance.
the
Oh, sorry.
racing. What?
To the audience.
What?
Hey?
Thank you very much. Please follow, subscribe, like, share a comment, mention Rob Socks, talk about the chairs, whatever floats your boat, wherever you leave your comments. That is it from Hi.
Performance.
Racing.